Ladies and gentlemen.
What's going on, people? Back with a bang. Here I am to bring you guys another video today. So today I'm going to talk about the events from this past week, how a few different stocks moved, what stocks reported earnings, what that means for the market going forward. I'll also look forward to this week and talk about some stocks I'm watching, as well as some news events, again, different stocks, different companies who are reporting, and I'll just speak about the overall market economy as well. So before we do that, do the usual, drop me a favor and drop a thumbs up. Show your support by commenting, sharing with a friend, and of course, if you're new around here, subscribe as well. So I've got Yahoo Finance over here, and to be honest, overall, right now, the economy is doing all right, right? The markets are just about holding. Towards the end of this past week, we had a nice rally due to some big companies reporting great earnings, which we'll get into. And then this week, to look forward to, we've got FOMC Wednesday, so that's Jay Powell Day. We've got a few more big companies reporting, and yeah, a few bits of reports as well, like the job reports. So you guys know the deal, right? We're looking to hear when inflation is going to start dropping, when we're going to see a rate cut. We're gonna find out within the next few months, or at least maybe by Wednesday, again, what the Fed's target is, what the Fed plans to do, whether rates are going to drop soon, or potentially maybe, we see a rate hike, which I highly doubt, but again, anything is possible. Yeah, that's mainly it. So as you can see, towards the end of last week, so Thursday, Friday, the market got a nice pump. And that was largely due to some big companies like Microsoft, like Alphabet, reporting amazing earnings. Another company which actually reported earnings, which we'll get into, was Meta. Now, I'm not going to touch on that yet, but, just keep that in mind, because we're going to talk about Meta, so don't leave the video before I talk about Meta. But yeah, just looking at a few of the big headlines, okay, you see Tesla are trying to fight off the Chinese rivals. You also see the news about Apple starting to look away from China, seeing China be a little bit of a problem, the usual stuff. AI again, the usual stuff, tech surging. Could Powell be fired? I highly doubt it. But yeah, those are the main headlines, the main bits of news where you'd like to probably dive into a little bit deeper. So let's jump over to trading view now. And actually, before we jump into trading view, this is the S&P 500 towards the end of last week. Before we jump into trading view, I mentioned that Meta, Alphabet, Apple, Tesla reported earnings last week, and we'll touch on those. But actually, let's also touch on the stocks that are reporting earnings for this upcoming week. So this week's earnings, well, we have SoFi tomorrow before open. I will talk about SoFi stock. PayPal before market Tuesday. I'll also talk about that briefly, look at the charts. Amazon, AMD, Starbucks after hours of Tuesday. And then really the rest of the week, I mean, for you guys, maybe QCOM is important. Maybe something like a Pfizer is important. Obviously, you've got Coinbase, Apple, and Square Thursday, as well as DraftKings. But yeah, those, the real main ones I'm watching are Tuesday after hours. And as you guys know, when it comes to earnings, it can be a hit or a miss, and still the stocks can do whatever they want. For example, if we just go back to trading view, Meta, I'm going to pull up Meta, because Meta missed earnings by, I think, 1.3% or 1.6%. And it went all the way from highs of 509 down to around 415 briefly before you had the dead cat bounce and it continued back up. But if you look at after hours, look, it dropped all the way down to 399, to be honest, from 509 to 399. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because, like I said, Meta slightly missed earnings. Overall earnings wasn't bad. They slightly missed by about 1.3%, as I said, 1.3 or 1.6%. But you've got Alphabet, ticker symbol GOOG. Alphabet reported a great earnings. Alphabet and also another good friend of ours, Microsoft, reported a great earnings, right? And here you can see what happens after their earnings rally. So Google and Microsoft both reported amazing earnings. So what does that mean for Facebook or Meta? Well, let's put it in perspective, right? Meta's competition is Alphabet and Microsoft. When Alphabet and Microsoft are reporting amazing earnings, then Meta really needs to report an even more outstanding earnings. So Microsoft and Alphabet showed us that they are increasing their AI spend. They're doing a lot with AI. As you guys have seen during this first quarter and then also the beginning of the second quarter, when it comes to AI news, positive AI news is bringing stocks different rallies. So again, Microsoft and Google are showing more in regards to their AI spending. Meta still has a lot to do in regards to catching up for AI spending. Now, Meta have been more focused on the metaverse for the past 6, maybe 8 years, Whereas other companies like Google, even Microsoft, have been showing a lot more potential with AI. So if Meta want to catch up with their competitors, show strong performance, they might want to talk a bit more about AI potential, AI plans, what they'd like to do in the future. But one thing I did also want to highlight is, okay, their competitors are doing well, but you have to also remember that since last earnings, Meta has jumped up, it's 22%. So it's not, it's not oversold now, and it's not overbought either. It was a bit overbought, overvalued up here. Now this is not a bad price. But like I said, the reason you want to look at that is because when a company is doing so well, as you've seen with many companies in the past, when the companies are doing so well, they need to be able to continue doing well, keep going. And that's going to bring me on to Tesla. Tesla is like the opposite of Meta. Tesla actually reported a bad earnings. What happened? The stock rose. And that's the thing with earnings. But look, Tesla is kind of like the opposite of Meta. Tesla had been dropping for pretty much 4 months straight. It's been dropping, right? And if you look overall from the highs of July, it's tanked from the highs of July from last year. So it was almost in a position where it's so low that yes, it can get cheaper, but after they already announced all the different bad news, the employees that were getting cut, the slowdown in deliveries, all those kind of things, all the negative news, it was like the only way this stock was going to drop is if they could, if they announced more bad news in a way. So this stock obviously rallied, jumped up 15%, I believe, within a couple of days, and it's gone from 140 back up to almost $170. So like I said, just think about these two concepts. Tesla, really bad earnings, but the stock jumps 15%. Meta, decent earnings, stock drops 20%. Again, it's just in regards to guidance, in regards to what your competitors are doing, in regards to your market share. That's kind of what can affect your stock price after earnings. And that's going to bring me on to SoFi, because SoFi are reporting earnings this week. So tomorrow, before our pre-market, SoFi stock is at $7, right? And this is one I kind of bang on about a lot. Whenever it's around just under $7, I do say this looks like it's at the support level, it's a good time to buy. But the reason I want to highlight this is because SoFi's numbers are actually quite good. But the stock price, if you look over the past couple of years, stock price just seems to sell off. From July, we sold off from $11 all the way down to $7. If you look at, again, like I said, 2 years ago, we were at $12. Now we're at $7. So you'd think, okay, SoFi, what are they doing down here? I'm hearing good news. I'm hearing good numbers. I'm hearing that they're doing well. Well, again, stock price doesn't always affect or reflect what's going on with the news, what's going on with the company overall. Sometimes different things are priced in. Sometimes people are just not interested at this current point in time. And I also heard something in regards to student loans. You might have to look on that and just type in SoFi student loans or something like that, because I think that might be some news that is affecting this stock as well. But like I said, I don't know too much about that, but I do think that's also something I've heard that affects SoFi stock. Not exactly sure what it is. But like I said, in regards to what's going on with different stock price, different price action, news can affect it in more ways than one. Positive news doesn't mean the stock is going to rally. Negative news doesn't mean the stock is going to drop, as you've seen with Tesla, as you've seen with Meta as well. So just keep that in mind. So Tuesday, we've got Amazon, we've got Starbucks, we've got AMD. Those I'll probably analyze Tuesday after market when they've actually reported. I don't have any specific plans in regards to any of those three right now, but I will point out AMD seemed to have bounced around the 200 moving average and just showed a bit more strength. I would also point out that we've dropped from 225 all the way down to 150s. That could tell you a bit about what could be happening in earnings. Is it now that we're going to see the recovery again and run back up to 220 and so on and so forth? Who knows? For Starbucks, we're hearing that, that boycotting that a lot of people were doing, from the last 3-4 months with the war news in Israel, that boycotting did affect the stock price, but we are also hearing that Starbucks are not actually as involved in the war as people may have first thought. So I think that's why the stock has started to recover as well. It's now consolidating between the moving average and showing a little bit more signs of strength. So keep this one on your radar. Keep your eyes out and see how the price action moves for the first 2 trading days of this week. Then I want to talk about Exxon and also Palantir. Palantir I'll talk about because their earnings is coming up soon. That is, so not tomorrow, but next week, Monday. Palantir is at $22. We saw what happened last earnings. AI News saw this stock jump $9. So why I'm talking about Palantir right now, I was listening to their CEO, Alex Karp, talk a couple of days ago. I like what he's doing. Obviously, he has big plans for the company regarding AI specifically, but also just in regards to their workforce overall and their hiring process. You should definitely go and take a listen to him, take a listen to their co-founders speak. And when you hear those kind of things that they're talking about, you kind of feel that, obviously they've got a plan for the company and a purpose, but you feel like this stock is quite undervalued. Again, as I said a couple months ago when they reported earnings, my price target is really $30. Do we see the rally to $30 now? Last time after earnings, we saw a $9 rally. Do we see that again next week going into May? This was one I'll definitely keep on your radar for calls. We started to see the break above the moving averages. So that's that technical analysis. We're hearing good things in regards to the people who are involved in the company. So that's that fundamental analysis. So with those combining together, looking at what we've got here, I see potential. I'm going to keep this on my radar this week. I'm looking at calls with Palantir. If it does happen to bounce, if it happens to fall and drop to that $20 level and then bounce, that's going to be, an indication for me to get into calls, at least for the initial $2 run up. And then, as I said, we'll be looking to see if we can start pushing back up to that $30 level. And to be honest, I need to see what goes on with this stock because I do feel like this is leaning bullish. I also saw a post in regards to their call flow. I can just try and bring that up for you. So yeah, you see a lot of calls coming in for 17th of May. That's the week after they report earnings. They report earnings on the 6th. So not the Friday of their report, but the week after, so middle of May. There's a lot of call flow coming in. Big sweeps for the $26, $1.50 calls. Who knows? If someone knows something, but like I said, Palantir calls definitely on your radar. And then I'll talk about ExxonMobil. So Exxon, they reported earnings Friday, and before earnings, you saw that it had been a strong stock this year. One of the best performing stocks, at least in my portfolio this year, if not the best performing. I think Meta was the only one who was outperforming it. Oh, actually VKTX as well, Viking Therapeutics. So we dropped down to around 117 and we touched highs of 124 the week before, or a couple weeks before. Now, the range I'm looking at is that 118 to 122 level. And ironically, if you look, let's say intraday at, just before earnings or just after earnings as well, we're around 122, just under 122, and we dropped to, around 116. So again, I'm looking in between that range. If we break past 118, I'll be looking at seeing this stock all the way to 122. I'm already in the calls on this. Like, I just want to clarify that I'm already in calls, swinging calls with Exxon. But I do want to also point out that if we do see more signs of strength, we start to break above 118, we push towards that level of resistance / support I've got at 119. And I'm expecting it to continue going, and I will add more calls. But again, I just wanted to clarify that for you. And then lastly, very lastly, I'm going to touch on PayPal. I've been banging on about this stock since it was $54. That was a good few months ago, actually. So back here, even before. So here, back in November when it was around $54, I was banging on about this stock. And lo and behold, we've jumped over $10 since. Now, if you think, oh, I missed a run, no, you haven't. My real price target for this is $117. If I pull up the daily chart, you can kind of see this on a larger scale. There you go. See, I got 118 marked out, 122 marked out. So yeah, that's really my levels that I'm looking to reach. If you look on the larger scale, you see that we're still kind of consolidating around $65. We haven't pushed past 67, 70 just yet. We haven't done that in a while, since August. Now with earnings coming up, I'm looking at us breaking that and pushing higher past $68, up to $70. See where we kind of topped out here? Right here. This is where I'm looking at, right here. Can we break that $68.20 point? I think we can this week. Let's see what we have in regards to earnings. I'm intrigued to see how PayPal does. But that's kind of what's going to complete, their comeback for me. At least complete the beginning of their comeback. This earnings, if it goes well. The last 3 earnings, we've had mixed results. We sold off last earnings. The earnings before that, we gapped up. And the earnings before that, we sold off again. So I'm intrigued to see how this one goes. I do believe we will push and continue pushing. So let's just see how it goes though. As you guys know, we have the Discord as well. Get a sneak peek now. We are always active in the Discord, doing our thing, making money. You guys know how it goes. But as I just wanted to say, we've got the crypto there. We talk about stocks. We talk about betting. We've got a lot of different things going on in there. Shout out T-Mac as well for that huge comeback. First play in 2 years, so big shout out. That's a 600% return intraday. That's excellent work. And as I said, just come and check out the Discord. We've got a load of different things going on there. We also have the stock option starter pack. That is 10 different videos for you guys. There's 3 hours worth of videos. You have access to that for life, so check that one out as well. All those videos are produced by me, and it's a one-time payment, but you have access to it for life. Then check me out on all the social medias. You can find them in the description below at The Wealth Prince. But that's it for me. Thanks a lot for watching. I got money to making, you got money to making. See you guys next time for another video. Peace.